We're back, boys. Episode 23 of the Bluegrass Race Hub. Joined tonight, as usual, HMFIC, Jason Collins. Joined by, if I'm pointing down, I hope he's down on the video. We'll see when it happens on YouTube. Doesn't matter. The truck front runner, the man to beat, Jonah Colbert. Let's do it. All right, guys, we're going to jump into, we got a week and some change to cover here, but we're going to jump off with the trucks at Roval. Typically, for me, road courses are really good, and I had an okay run, but on last Monday night, Mr. Peyton Hubbard was absolutely untouchable. Might as well have been in a different class of car. He could have been out there in a Miata and probably beat us. Just from qualifying, practice. Actually, I think he kind of sandbagged us in practice. I don't think he showed up until the end, and I didn't know what I was in for. But homie was he was over a second faster than me, and I finished second. Jonah joining us also was a P3. He was right on pace with me. We had some good battles. I think we had some late tire worn battles flying out of the bus stop and just all over the track.
It's driving good. It was driving good.
Oh, it was fantastic. But as far as bluegrass things go, very clean race, which is kind of typical on road courses since we don't have the full course cautions.
Yep.
We're not all getting back together. I was sad that everyone employed my pit strategy from Watkins Glen that allowed me to beat Peyton last time. Everyone pitted two to three laps before the stage, so we were all kind of on that same strategy. And I think the way the field worked out, there wasn't really a way around it, regardless. So shame on you, Jason. But outside of that, I didn't get to race with a lot of other guys outside of Peyton and Jonah. Outside of when we were coming off pit road after pit strategy, stuff like that. But from where I was sitting, Jonah, I assume, is probably going to tell you the same here in a second, but clean race overall. Tricky track. That's the first time I've been in a NASCAR vehicle on the Roval, which is strange, but I've only raced the Miatas and the TCRs there. So it was a different experience. Had to be very patient on the throttle. Track was pretty hot. Just oversteer like crazy. A few guys banged it off the wall. I think it's like turn 7 after the downhill. You're going to the left to go into what would be turn 1 on the oval.
Yeah.
But outside of that, not huge issues. I'll run us through the top 10 and throw it to Jonah, get some of his insights on it. Like I said, congrats to Peyton for getting the win. Absolutely deserving. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That was a risky pick.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for your.
I saw him in practice, so I knew he was fast. And we'd been kind of messaging back and forth. I knew he'd win a 121.9, and I built the setup off of Watkins Glen. So I took the Watkins Glen setup and made some adjustments to the track bar. It was hillbilly on the right side. It was 1.5 inches higher on the right side. So I leveled the track bar out, made some compression changes, made a gear change, and it was a loose set, but I think it was a good set. And all in all, what do you think, Jonah?
I thought it was kind of tight. It was really, really tight through the oval portion, or not the oval portion, the infield portion, because I'm used to like the setups at Roval being really, really loose, and you're kind of chasing the rear end around the track. And it was a little bit opposite. It didn't handle bad. It was just different from what I'm used to. So, but it was a good setup. It was fine. It was fun racing it.
Well, everybody else said it was loose, and that's what because it was actually looser, and I tightened it up, so it would have been a little bit looser, but I didn't want it to be where people were looping it, especially coming through, what is it, 2 and 3, and you go back to that little straightaway. It kind of wanted to, get loose on the back end and kind of go to the right. So I tightened it up a little bit right there. But I think if I would have went with a looser set, I think we probably would have had a few more incidents in the infield.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
fine the way it raced. I mean, you were able to race around people with
Mhm.
no problem, and it was stable. And ultimately, in a series like this, you want something that's stable first, and then you worry about fast later. So
Yeah.
Yep. I would say, I guess, I know some people say loose, some people say tight. I would say it was tight under braking, deceleration, but any throttle whatsoever, it wanted to jump out, which is maybe more so just the trucks in general, more so than the setup. So
But it was hella
you got to
drivable.
kind of, yeah. I
absolutely.
mean, yeah, we made it around. Me and Jonah had our moments for sure, but we
Mm.
lived to fight another day. I'll run through the rest of the top 10.
Mm.
P2, P3, Sean Kaiser, P4, Barrett Morton, P5, Lucas Lyons, P6, Wes Wiggin, P7, Cody Anderson, P8, which he was giving me shit for not picking him to win the race. So, Cody, shut up. Um, Ed Osborne, P9. I know he is. I won't say that he hates road courses, but he's not a big road course guy. So
Mm.
awesome run for him. He was looking very stable and consistent in practice. So great job by Ed. And rounding out the top 10, Fernando Takahashi, which we know my rule about syllables and how good you are on road courses. If you guys go into officials and Miatas and stuff like that, basically the farther they live from us, the better they are at road courses.
The more names they have.
Yeah.
Yes,
True.
every single time. So
Harder the
he
name
lived
is to
up to the
pronounce.
hype. Yep, 100%. So
He had a
thank
good
you,
run going.
Fernando.
He was running
He
really
really did.
well. He got up to what, P2 at the stage or something like that. He looked like he was going to have a good run, and then him and Bobby got together in the infield portion. Bobby kind of,
Right.
if I remember from what I saw, I don't know what happened prior to the contact in the universal shoot. What's it called? The universal horseshoe. I know Fernando got under him, and Bobby kind of just came down on top of him. So I don't know if there was anything prior to that, but
I can't remember. I remember Bobby being a little aggravated, but I was surprised at Bobby. He was faster than me in our initial practice that we did, and I know that he's one of the guys that's kind of fast everywhere. I don't know if he was just I think he was not happy with how hot the track was, maybe compared to how he had practiced it before, because Bobby's a guy that's typically fast everywhere, and I was surprised that he wasn't, right neck and neck with me at least. I won't say with Peyton because that's a whole other shit at this race, and I don't even really want to talk about it anymore. Um, but I know after that he was just kind of hanging on like a fly in a biscuit, as some of these Southerners down here
hair
might
in a
say.
biscuit, hanging on like a hair in a biscuit.
What?
That's what my dad used to always say.
See, I got it wrong because I'm not originally from here, so that's on me.
Yeah. So I do want to touch base on something real quick. It's not on our list, but so somebody asked me the other day, Dave Farmer asked me, why don't we give the time and the date or the temperature? Why don't we use a set temperature, right? And basically the reason that I don't do that is because that's just one more variable that you all have to deal with. So it puts you all in a box where if I just do random date and time, or not date and time, random weather, generate weather, I give you the date and time already. So you can practice the date and time and have a general idea, but you don't really know, because like even in real life, when you go to the racetrack, you don't know what the weather's going
You
to
don't
be.
know.
You don't know if it's you can forecast it and guess, and that's kind of what I give you. Is I give you a guess. You can check it. You can run different sessions, and it comes down to ultimately how much time you want to put in and how much practice you want to put in testing and finding out, okay, if I test on a 120-degree track, this is what it feels like. If I test on a 98-degree track, this is what it feels like. So it's your responsibility to figure it out. I put you in a box to where you had to figure it out, and the guys that seem to be figuring it out every week, you know, are doing well. So, what's your thoughts?
Which well,
I
yeah,
like the random weather. I mean, that's like you said, that's the way they do it. I mean, it's realistic. You know, you can't just sit there and just prep for one track condition all season long. It it adds an element, like I said, it adds a variable, and it tests the drivers on how they can adjust to the track and the
Yep,
track changes,
yep.
especially when you use dynamic weather. Because you like tonight, for example, there was a point in the race where we had massive cloud cover in turn 3 and 4, but it was sunny in 1 and 2, and
Mm,
it was like that for about 10 laps, and it really changed the handling. So it's just one of
hmm
those little things that you have to adjust to during the race, which makes it more interesting. It makes it more fun than just 72 degrees every single week.
yep.
100%.
And from where I'm sitting, which I like that because it's realistic. On the other hand, for someone like me that I don't have the opportunity to turn a ton of laps during the week, it it closes the gap a little bit because I'll say his name. I hope he listens to it. A guy like Keith Hackney that gets to do a ton of practice throughout the week. If they know exactly what the weather is going to be, they're going to get to run, 3, 4, 500 laps on that. And I'm lucky to get maybe 1 or 2 hour
Hmm.
sessions in before a
Mhm.
race, and then the practice we have day of is where I do most of my learning. So that helps level that playing field a bit as
100%.
well. So
And that's what it's there for.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, and that's why we do random track conditions. I let the simulator generate the track conditions, so you don't know. It could be 50% usage, it could be 0% usage, it could be almost 100% usage. But the reason for that is to close that gap between skill and what the track is going to be. It helps kind of, like I said, it introduces another variable, and it allows guys that don't get to practice all week to come into the session and practice. If they get there early at 7 o'clock and they practice that entire hour and 45 minutes until the driver's meeting, and then a few minutes after the driver's meeting, if they practice that entire time, then they're able to close the gap and figure it out. So that's why we do it that way.
Yep.
Um,
And before we move to the next thing, I want to pause right here, Jason, because your internet is not good right now, buddy. All right. Brief technical difficulty, but we're back. Before we move on to the next thing, I wanted to wrap with Jonah a little bit, since I did get to race with him quite a bit at the Roval. Since we were not on that god tier pace that Peyton was, we were I guess the best of the rest.
mm,
Um, Specifically, when it got really heated, I think it was the last the last pit stop. It was after the stage. Um, I think I pitted 1 lap. No, you pitted a lap before me, and I
That's
came
right.
out. Yep, and you passed me right as I was exiting. Um, I knew by that point I was kind of shooting for second place unless Peyton's computer crashed, basically. Um, I ended up pushing it very hard for 3, 4, maybe 5 laps, and ended up being able to get around you, maybe not necessarily on pure pace. You had a slip up on the, I call it the bus stop. I don't know if they call it that at the Roval or not. But you were on the exit going into what would be the oval turn 3, and I was able to get underneath you, and then from there, I don't think you got back around me, but I know we had the moments for sure where you got very close, and just kind of hear your side of that affair because I know it was very tense for me to say the least.
Yeah, so coming into the final pit stop, I had the plan to try and undercut you. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to pass him. Um, I didn't feel comfortable passing with that setup because it was just tight enough. I was afraid I might lock it up and run into you. So I was like, okay, I'll try to undercut, and it worked. And I was like, awesome. So now I just have to drive the hell out of it and make sure I don't make any mistakes. And literally the next lap, as I'm going into the bus stop or chicane, whatever you want to call it, on the back
Yep.
stretch. Um, I made it in just fine. I didn't cook tires, nothing like that. And then as I make the right hand, I immediately knew something was wrong because I could just like my pedals were vibrating like crazy, and I'm like, oh no, it lost all rear grip as I turned right, and it did like the slowest right hand spin you've ever seen in your life. And I'm just sitting there thinking, is it ever going to stop? Is it ever going to stop? Is it ever going to stop? And then it finally stops, and you were just like gone, driving away into the sunset. And I was like, okay, get it back together. So I cooled them off for about a lap and a half, and then I was like, all right, let's go again. And then I think you and me both ran our fastest laps right around that point. It was like,
Hmm.
I'm not sure what lap that was, but, and I ran, well, I say I ran you down. I think I got within about a
Yeah.
half
Oh,
a second,
yeah,
about
you
a half
got
second or something like
very
that.
close.
And it was just lap after lap, it was back and forth. It was like you'd be a tenth faster, and then I was a tenth faster, and then you were a tenth faster. And it was just, I was like, oh, I'm making up ground. I'm making up ground. And then there you'd go again, you'd take off. And then when it came down to that final lap, I was within about a half second or something like that. And I was like, okay, my
Yeah.
only chance at this now is the bus stop. I was like, hopefully he misses the bus stop and I'm just going full send. And I mean, that was the hottest I've hit the bus stop all week, and I hit it as hard as I could, and it didn't stick. So I was like, at least I tried. And I had to try something. And
Yeah,
yeah,
you gotta throw the haymaker, and from where I was sitting, I wasn't trying to manage the gap necessarily because I didn't think that I was necessarily faster than you after the tires equalized. Um, but having to push so hard to get around you to start with, I kind of burned them up, and then I was nursing tires, and then you would get close, and then I would try to get a little more aggressive, and then that'd make my tires fall off, and then you were getting there. It was just back and forth, and every little mistake that either one of us made, the other guy was going to capitalize on it, and then it would go the other way. It was just super fun all the way around. I On a different track, like a Watkins Glen, maybe it would have been more side by side kind of stuff. But the way the Roval is, you don't really get a ton of that. But I,
No,
I
not at
was
all.
feeling I was feeling the pressure the entire time. I knew that I couldn't just relax and just like cruise to second place.
yeah, there was
Eh,
one point, I want to say it was like with 2 or 3 laps to go. We had just come out of the carousel, that right hander down that, I guess it's not really the back stretch, it's the infield
mhm.
back stretch.
Mm.
And
Yes.
I was completely sideways, and I look ahead and you were completely sideways. I mean, we were both Tokyo drifting off of that corner. That's how hard we were driving, and we were smoking our rear tires. I imagine they were about 300 degrees at the end of that race.
Oh, it had to be just terrible, and I think a part of it that kept it interesting, I think that there were a couple sections of the track that I was good at, and there were a couple sections that you were better than me at, but they weren't the same. So
Yeah.
I'd get away a little bit, and then we get to the section where you're better, and then I really started feeling the pressure, and it caused me to maybe push more than I needed to at times, whatever it may be. But it made it really interesting from where I was sitting for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure.
So
And
you
on
guys want
that,
to talk about what happened with tonight's race at Homestead? It seems like we might as well just go ahead and
oh,
roll into it while we're here. Jonah, you basically dominated that race, man. 71 laps led, fastest lap of the race. How'd you feel about it?
Homestead is my track. I'd say if, everybody has their track, their one
Mm,
track that they just feel like fits for them, and that's it. Like I
mm-hmm,
didn't pick the track; it just kind of picked me.
mm-hmm,
Something about that track. I like it because it doesn't matter how tight the setup is, you can make your car or your truck loose just because of the lack of grip on the bottom line. It's a
mm,
really abrasive track. It makes for some good racing. I wish they would update the track perimeters a little bit to give you a little bit more highline racing early in the runs
mm-hmm.
like they used to have. But other than that, it's yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's a good track.
So does it make you excited to have it as a championship race for next season?
Absolutely. um, it's circled on the calendar, whatever series I'm going to be running in. So
Gotcha, gotcha.
it's a good one. Uh, I was going to say it's a good one. It reminds me, it drives similar to Auto Club.
Mm,
A lot of multi-line. If you want to be aggressive, run the bottom, try and slide up in front of guys, or if you want to rip the top for a few laps. Homestead at Homestead, when you rip the top, kind of counterintuitive for me at most places. When you rip the top, it allows you to cool the tires off a bit, at least for me. I don't know if that's the same for everybody, but I just like any track where there are multiple lines that are effective. In practice, I was faster running purely the bottom,
Mhm.
but if I purely ran the top, it was only it maybe a tenth off.
Mm.
So it let me know that if I ended up in that situation, I could run that kind of stuff as well. And when you're racing through the pack, racing guys, it gives you a lot of options for passing and gives you time to set things up and be creative with getting past the guy in front of you. It's just a fun place. I don't like it as much as Jonah does, obviously, because he won and I finished seventh. But
Mm.
it's an awesome track. I enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah, Jonah came out P1, Sean Kaiser was P2, Barry Morton P3, Dustin Ronstadt was P4, Alan Duranco had a P5. Good job for him. I know he struggled with some races this season, but he showed that if he would have had some different luck, I feel like he would have been a contender this season as well. Lucas was P6, Healy was P7, Ron Morris was P8, Fernando P9, and Cody Verrill was P10. We only had the one caution between Wes and Peyton. Peyton pulled up in front of Wes coming out of pits and kind of took the line away. It's a 15-mile-an-hour difference, 14-mile-an-hour, something like that. And when Wes went to go around him, he almost had him cleared, and then Peyton barely pulled down and made contact. And like we were saying, if it would have been real racing, that's nothing. It's a donut on the side. They roll on. But with iRacing's physics, the way that it is, ended up bringing out a yellow. So unfortunate that happened, but and kind of hurt Wes because now that puts Wes where does that put Wes in points going into the standings?
I think
He's
he's
seventh.
one spot behind me. Yeah.
He's seventh. He's got 49 points for the round because the points reset at 3,000. So 3,049. Bobby is at 3,044. You're sitting at 3,053. Healy. Lucas is at 3,057. Barrett is at 3,065. Sean is at 3,072. Peyton at 3,075. And then Jonah at 3,099. So Jonah's locked into the next round. He's a guaranteed championship 4 driver. So my question is, who's going to win Martinsville next week? That's going to be big. Somebody is going to get their either opportunity to run into the championship 4, they're going to win and get in, or is it going to be, are we going to see Jonah come back and win next week as well? So how do you feel about Martinsville, Jonah?
I think I might have a flat tire on the last lap, if that's the case. Might have to sneak a teammate in there or something. I don't know. We'll see. I like Martinsville a lot. It's a fun track. I've not run it in the trucks a lot, but I imagine there's going to be some bumping and banging.
Oh yeah,
because it's Martinsville. That's the way it goes. It's short track
Huh.
racing, right? So
yeah.
it's a lot of fun. It's all about how you roll the center and get the drive off. So yeah, looking forward to it.
I hope we have a good turnout next week for Martinsville. I know it's a short track. It may. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, but I hope we have a good turnout at least.
Yeah, I mean, on iRacing, if you don't enjoy racing Martinsville, I don't know what to tell you. I get in officials like it can suck, it'll kill your SRI or whatever.
Mhm.
But in a league, for me, there's probably no more fun track. It's I don't want to say it's like a super speedway because obviously the racing's much different, but anybody that plays their cards right can be there at the end.
Mhm.
And obviously there's a ton of skill running short tracks, figuring out how to roll center, break points, all that kind of good stuff. But taking care of your stuff, having the right pitch strategy, having good tires at the end, all that kind of stuff. All I know is that post race fights after Martinsville. I am subscribed. It's on my schedule. I'll be there for an hour. I told Jason this before we started the podcast. I've two of the I think this is my fourth season now. My first season, I made it to the championship four for
The third or
Martinsville.
fourth?
Or
You didn't race
I'll
the
be
first season of trucks,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is your third season. So we're in our fourth
Yep.
season of trucks, going into our fifth. So this will be your fourth coming up. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So my first season, I sealed my playoff four bid there by moving a guy, and that guy killed me. Whatever. We're not going to go in depth with it. He killed me in the championship race. We've already beat that dead horse. Second season, I think I had to miss a race. I was on my anniversary, and then
Yep.
last season, I moved my now teammate Wes Wiggin, who was ready to fucking kill me. There's the F bomb. I didn't mean to do it, but I did it. I moved Wes last season. He wasn't super happy with me. I went to post race fights and I told him to beat me down. He didn't. Now we're teammates, so it's all good. But if it's on the line at Martinsville, and buddy, if you see me in the mirror, I will I will move. I don't care if you're my teammate, if you're my friend, if you're my worst enemy. I'm gonna take your bumper and I'm gonna move it over there.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go to post race fights, and either I earned it or I'm gonna tell you to eat shit. So I can't wait.
So, I mean, just looking at the points, and this is not trying to knock anybody or anything at all, but the top four, it's going to be hard to knock anybody out of that top four points wise. You're going to have to win next week. There's going to have to be somebody's going to have to come in.
I know it.
Like, I mean, there is a potential, a possibility to get stage points, and maybe let's just say Barrett's probably the closest target that is reachable, right? At 65, and then he's 8 points ahead of Lucas. He's 12 points ahead of you. So there's a potential that maybe he has a bad race and gets wrecked out early, and you get stage points. He doesn't. There's a possibility there. But your top three, Sean, Peyton, and Jonah. We know Jonah's already locked in. So your top, second and third guys, Peyton and Sean, they're basically locked in on points right now. Like, it's going to be very difficult to actually knock them off unless they just get destroyed early in the race next week. And so,
which is always a possibility.
100% at Martinsville. I mean, you're looking at such a massive gap. A guy like Bobby, though, could come in there and win that race.
Absolutely.
A guy like Healy could come in there and win that race. Lucas could come in there and win that race. So it's, Barrett is on the hot seat. Other than that, I don't know that Sean or Peyton could really be knocked off mathematically. I mean, yeah, it's possible, but you're talking like they would have to get knocked out super early in the race.
Yeah, it really depends on how many people start the race too.
Yes,
there is that. So
if we only have 20 drivers next week, you're not looking. There's not a lot of separation right there.
No.
What I'm hearing is that Barrett's tailgate is going to look really red to me next week.
It's going to have a big bullseye on it, I'm afraid. Yeah. He's,
and I got the horns, baby.
Because he's 7 spots behind Sean at this point and 10 spots behind Peyton. So the regular season is so crucial. Guys don't realize how important the regular season really truly is, because you earn so many bonus points throughout the regular season with wins and stage wins and stuff. And that's what's allowed Jonah and Peyton to have such a massive, Peyton had a terrible race tonight, but yet he's still basically locked in because he did so well and he's won so many races, just like you. You've got 6, he's got 4. That's another thing. So do you think you can either possibly tie Hackney's record or beat Hackney's record? You got 2 races left to do it.
No, I think it's done now. I mean, I might be able to tie it with Phoenix at best. I don't see pulling off back to back, especially with the desperation of Martinsville and people
Mhm.
needing a win to get in. If someone like Bobby West or Alex, or maybe even Lucas are behind me. Well, I mean,
Mhm.
I'd probably let Lucas go, but the other three, if they're within 2 tenths, I'm not going to blame them for doing it. I'll probably move out of their way and try to cross them over or something and keep
Mm.
them out of it. But um, that would be a really hard thing to pull off is 2 straight wins. I
Be
lost my
3. It
chance
would be
with
3
the.
technically. You won tonight,
Oh
so you'd
yeah,
have to win
3.
Martinsville and Phoenix to beat the
Yeah,
record. You could potentially tie the record, but actually beating the record would be, 3 in a row,
all
so it would be
3.
hard.
Yeah, that'd be real difficult. I kind of lost my shot at that with the Dover and Darlington
Mhm.
things. So, but yeah, all I need is one more.
Yeah,
Just the last one. That's the only one that matters. So
that's right.
I'll take that.
That it truly is.
I
And
don't even have to
guys,
win it. Just that's be in the front. So
yeah, and guys have to realize, like, next week at Martinsville, you know, you can't really get mad at a guy if he does move you. I mean, I guess you could be mad for it in the moment, but you can't stay mad about it because you got to think what's on the line, what we're coming up against. Um, like I said, and I hope we have a great turnout. I hope we have 30 trucks show up next week. I don't think we
oh yeah,
will, but
that would be
I hope we
crazy.
do. That would be awesome if we had 30 trucks show up. So, if you guys are listening to this and you're, thinking about running Martinsville, come on out and run it because the more we have, I feel like the better race we're going to have. So
We want drama.
yeah, we do, we want it.
I'm really just there for post race fights. If I make it, awesome. If not, then the drama better be worth it. I want to be mad at somebody after the race if I don't make the playoffs. I want to tee off on somebody.
I
It'll
really
Yeah,
make
just
me
want to
feel better.
use. I really just want to use the Denny Hamlin gif of him saying that's short track racing. I mean,
yeah,
if I don't
Short
get
track racing.
post race fights,
Uh,
has been quiet for the last few weeks.
it
Too
has
it,
bad.
been, man.
we've had like respectful tracks, and I'm tired of it.
It's been so quiet. People have been asking Mike Peters to post more pizza pictures.
Well, general
Yeah,
chat.
I don't need
I,
that.
I don't know if you guys got to see it, but I deleted this yesterday. There was an issue in general chat. Mikey and Keith kind of teed off on each other.
Ooh, I
Um,
missed it.
yeah, I deleted it because there was a lot of stuff it didn't need to be in general chat. It needed to be in post race fights if it was going to be in. But anyways, Mikey said
Mm.
he was having some computer issues. Let me go back to the evidence logs here and I'll find it and I'll tell you exactly what was said. Because it
Uh,
was
we're-
it was some drama. Like it was pretty heated there for a minute. Not gonna lie. So Mikey was like, I don't my computer's messed up, blah blah, whatever, right? And let's see. Keith said, "Karma's a bitch, huh?" And Mikey said, "But for you, yes, it is." And Mikey said, "Sounds good. I would hate for you to leave the Discord again. Have a good day, sir." Or no. Keith first. Keith said, "I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm content and happy. I don't need to prove a effing thing to any of you fucks. We good over here. Have a nice day." And Mikey said, "Sounds good. I would hate for you to have to leave the Discord again. Have a good day, sir." And then he said, "And also, don't sit here and say that you're content and happy when you started this shit. I asked for help on my computer and you had to make a smart ass comment. So don't bitch it with me." And I was just like, delete, and got rid of all that because obviously we didn't need that in general
Yep, good
general
good
chat.
thing you deleted it so we could talk about it here. No big
Yeah.
deal.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if somebody new's coming in
Yeah,
the Discord, I don't want them to see that crap.
yeah, I get it. But I don't know. I love that stuff. I kind of feed off of it. It's just like real NASCAR stuff when you have like a Kyle Larson and Ryan Preece and Ross Chastain and Chris Bell. That kind of deal. I could just read that all day. When I get to work on like a Tuesday and I see like 360 messages in post race fights, there's nothing I love more than that. So I don't know. Keep it coming, guys.
Yeah, we actually got to talking about that in the middle of the race tonight. We were talking about the Hackney situation, and because there's a couple of guys on JC Motorsports that know him, and he's
Mhm.
cool. Like nobody has a problem with him on our team,
Mhm.
but we were just cracking up at the whole situation. It's like I love his tenacity. I love like the confidence that he brings, and you can even call it a little bit of arrogance, which is
Yeah.
good, and I love it. Like, you need people like that sometimes. Everybody can't be humble
It's
pie. Somebody's got to
Alt
be.
F4. Alt F4.
Oh
Somebody's got to
Lord.
be that guy, and Hackney is that guy. So,
Yeah.
but you also got to know when you're that guy. Get ready, because the first time you make
Mess up.
one
Yep.
tiny mistake, all eyes are on you, and they're gonna let you know
100%.
about it.
100%.
So
Yep.
I'm on Hackney's
And
side, but at the same time, it is funny watching the whole thing
yeah.
unfold.
And
Yeah.
and like you, I love Keith. I love talking to him. I love hanging out with him on here.
Same.
I've sat on here for hours watching him play American Truck Simulator, having me a crown on the ice or whatever, and just having
Mhm.
a good time. But the shit talk it's great for the league, and as long as everybody can take it, I hope that we have more of it because it's more fun when we do. It gives me ammunition to
Gives
make
us
fun memes on Facebook.
more to talk
Yes,
about on the podcast too. I mean, it honestly it gives us something to talk about every week. Um
and
and
the
in
call in
oh
that was
my,
that was
yes,
prime
that was
that was
Oh,
prime time. That was
speaking of
so good.
call-ins, I need to check and see if we have any more and see if we got something. I think we had a reply from Alex Huffman actually, now that I think about it. I need to get that.
oh my God!
Yeah,
Please,
we need to
I
get
hope
into that here in a minute.
I hope
I'll
it's
pull that
about
up.
him.
Can't
I hope
wait.
it's about him, Duncan. But I'm pause, pause,
Juicy.
pause, 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 pause. I got a piece.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play a message we had from Alex Huffman last week, his response to Keith Hackney's original call in. So I'm going to start this from the beginning here and let everyone listen.
It's Mr. Luigi here. I think I sent a message earlier that nobody could probably hear due to being in my car on my way to work. But I guess the rotten apple weeded itself out there in the middle of Dover. They hit a couple of rotten bananas behind me, and Hackney, get your ass back in damn Discord and get back in the damn league so we can finish this shit. We were friends before, we're rivals now, but I love it because I love having somebody to constantly go after and run harder than anybody else because I've done it season after season. I ended up having a rival, and when I have that rival, it puts on good racing, and that's what I'm here for. We race clean. We didn't get in each other. We don't normally get into each other. We race each other clean but hard. Get your ass back in Discord. You got a couple more bananas to hit. Maybe a few blue, red, and green shells too.
So that was Alex Huffman. Started out talking a little crap. He said the rotten apple had weeded itself out at Dover and hit a few rotten banana peels behind him. Then obviously he went in to say, you know, him and Keith used to be friends. Now they're rivals. Not as much. What's the word? Hate, I guess. Like, or not really hate. I don't know. I know he doesn't hate him. Not as much bitterness, I should say, in his message as what Keith left the other day. But still, very, very funny overall. Seems like he's more along the lines that he wants the competition. He wants the rivalry, which is good to hear, and you know makes things awesome. So, thoughts?
Yeah, it's fun to have someone to race against, someone to that you're kind of, I don't want to say you have a target on them every week, but someone that you kind of measure yourself against. Like for me, it's Peyton right now.
Hmm.
I love racing against Peyton. Like I enjoyed racing against Alex too, but on the ovals right now, it's just been Peyton. You know, it's
Right.
kind of back and forth, and he's a clean driver. He's competitive as hell, and I like that. Like competitive and clean. I know I can get up right up on his door. I can even door him a little bit, and he'll take it,
Hmm.
and he'll door me right back, and we're all good. So it's fun to have that person to kind of measure yourself against. So I can totally see that. But then when you throw the egos in,
Hmm.
oh, it's even better. So yeah, I'm right there with him. But I think they need to get a room because he was yeah,
He was loving on him a
Yeah,
little bit.
they
It sounded
should.
like.
loving on him a
Yeah,
little bit too
they
much.
should maybe, I don't know, take him out to a nice seafood dinner at the Red Lobster, share a
Red
kiss over
Lobster.
some.
Woo, what kind of money you got? Well, like Long John
Uh,
Silver's.
oh, I'd love to see him at Long John Silver's suck on a hush puppy together or something. But I mean, some of the stuff I said earlier, like the rivalries make this fun. It gives us stuff to talk about too, obviously, but it's infinitely more entertaining when there is some kind of friction happening, whether it doesn't matter who it is, because everybody has their own viewpoint of how this thing happened, whether it's a guy they're friends with or a teammate or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone kind of has some rooting interest, and it creates a on track based on your opinion. It might differentiate how people drive you,
Oh, 100%.
which I think is pretty fun, honestly.
Well, going to what Jonah said about Peyton, it speaks volumes about how much this league helps people improve, because last season Peyton had really good pace, like for a few laps. He was really good on a short run. Like, he had hot lap pace. He didn't have that racecraft that he has now, that he can be doored and door somebody and not wreck and stuff. But he has
Did,
developed so much.
did
What?
he didn't learn that from Keith though, right?
I mean,
Keith, hot lap hero, right?
I mean, him and Keith
Right.
spent a lot of time together last
Well,
season.
depending on who you ask.
You know,
Hot lap heroes.
Keith was the guy to beat last season, and Peyton has
hey,
teamed up with him.
And in practice, I see lap dash dash lap dash dash lap dash dash. Come on now.
But what I'm saying is he's definitely improved 100%. And I just think that speaks volumes to the league. How if you're a driver out there that's looking for something to get better, somewhere to come and have a community and enjoy something, then check us out, man. Like, you can go to the website BluegrassIRacing.com. It'll give you all the links to all the socials, the Discord, and all that. So if you're somebody that's not familiar with the league, you want to check it out, go to the website BluegrassIRacing.com. Check that out. It's still under construction, so don't judge us too much. Just know that we are working on it. We're trying to get everything situated over there with that. But, for the most part, it has the links to where you need to be, to the Discord, to the Facebook,
Yep.
Instagram, all
And,
those things.
Yep. And firsthand, when I joined this league, it's 3 seasons ago. I was 15 to 2000 iRating guy.
Mm-hmm.
Being in this league now, I don't run officials because I still have something to prove in the truck series. I don't want to outrun my qualifications for it with the cap. It was 2000. It'll be 2500 next season. But since I've been in this league, if I go run officials now, if I did that for a week straight, I'd have to go at least run Xfinity, if not Cup, by next season. And it's all thanks to this league. And that's not me saying that I'm this ultimate driver or anything. I'm hanging on like 6th, 7th in the playoffs right now. Jonah's killing us. But that should be an endorsement for the league. Me sitting, 6th, 7th. If I go run officials for a week, I can't run trucks next season, period, because I'll be at 3,000 in 2 weeks, no problem.
Right. So, speaking of next season, what are you thinking? What, are you wanting to try to stick around and run trucks, Jonah, or are you wanting to try to move up? What's your, what are your plans? Like, what are your thoughts?
I don't want to run trucks full time. I'm not sure how I want to do that. I definitely want to jump up into Xfinity and just kind of work my way up. I guess it kind of depends on what happens in the championship too. If I pull off the championship, then I'm definitely going to Xfinity, and maybe I don't know how I'll do the trucks. It just depends. Kind of play it by ear, see what happens. But I'll be putting all my effort into Xfinity at that point, and then just whatever happens from there. So we'll just kind of see.
Hell
but
yeah,
Xfinity is 100% on my schedule next season. So.
Gotcha. Sounds like a plan. So that brings us over. Let's go ahead and talk about the Xfinity series right now. Those guys ran at the Roval last week. We had 2 Xfinity guys get their very first win of the season in the last round, with Radburn winning at Dover and Alex Penn winning the Roval. Alex Penn was just like Peyton. He was in a different zip code from everybody else. Could have put the dude in a freaking Mazda, like you said, and he would have whooped everybody. Absolutely, just outdrove everyone. He was 7/10 faster than Radburn on the fastest lap. He led all 44 laps, only missed one lap. Keith stayed out and led a lap. Um, so Alex pulled the win. Radburn was P2. James Silver's P3. Keith Hackney P4. Adam Lancaster with a P5. Scott Fritz was P6. Matt Grenier P7. Michael Robinson P8. Sean Kostritza P9. And Justin Ray was P10. And the points in that Xfinity series were so damn tight. Scott Fritz weaseled his way in by one freaking point. Actually, no, he was tied with Sean, I think, and he got the tiebreaker because he finished higher in that race. Yeah, he was tied with Sean, so he's 1 point behind Michael Robinson after that round. So when the points reset, when I get around to doing that, because I had a busy week last week, so I didn't get everything done like I needed to, but I'll work on that tonight and get those points updated and reset for everyone going into tomorrow night. I don't know, man. It's going to be. The points are so tight in the Xfinity series, it's unreal. Like, it really is going based off what we had last round and stuff. You know, you got a guy that got his first win, and Alex, and another guy got his first win, which is Radburn. That's going to help them in this round of 8 going into the championship 4. And tomorrow night at Home-Stead, it's anybody's ball game, in my opinion. You know, I'm looking for Radburn to be fast. James is going to be fast. Hackney's going to be fast. Lancaster, Kyle Mays, Scott. You know, it's really anybody's ball game going into the Final Four. What do you all think about the Xfinity series? Have you kept up with it much? Have you got to watch it?
I've been kind of following along. I haven't been able to watch all the broadcasts, but I've been kind of paying attention to the winners. That's a tough pick. Homestead's going to be a tough track in the Xfinity car. It burns up the right front a lot more than the trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a hot lap hero, be on notice. Not naming names. I expect Keith to be out there working really hard this week. I'd like to see him save some tire and pull off that win and lock himself into the Final Four. But I mean, just looking at the win column, there's so many different winners in the series. I don't even know who I would pick to win that race.
Yeah, it's a tough choice. I mean,
it's wild.
Xfinity is truly one of the toughest that we got right now. As far as points, you know, they're so tight. Silvers has 4 wins on the season, so he'll have, you know, the 20 bonus points for that. But I think who was number 1? Who got the overall? Was it Radburn? Did Radburn get the overall season championship? I had to go back and look at that. I'm not 100% on that. I'm actually going to work on those points right now while we're doing this and try to get a better idea of who's where. So let me pull up my other chase start here. I got to pull up the last chase so I can see who was regular season points. I can't remember right off the top of my head. All right, guys, we are back, and we're going to just finish discussing the Xfinity points. Silvers is currently leading going into the round of 8 with 3,035. Keith Hackney has 3,022. Radburn Shutters is tied with Keith Hackney with 3,022. Adam Lancaster has 3,018. Michael Robinson sitting in the 5th spot with 3,010. Kyle Mays at 3,008. Alex Penn at 3,008. Scott Fritz with 3,005. And that is our top 8 at the moment. So who's going to advance? I don't know. I mean, you've got tomorrow night. Anybody could win out of those guys, out of that top 8 guys. It's you know, like I said, it's anybody's ball game in Xfinity right now. Points are they're just too tight to make mistakes. You know, you've got 8 points is all that separates the 4th guy and Lancaster and Robinson. Now, James Silvers is looking pretty good, sitting up there with 35 points, bonus points ahead of everybody else. But, you know, anything happened at Home-Stead. So I'm definitely curious and interested to see what goes on there. Alex Penn, you know, won his way in with the Roval. I really don't know who to pick on this one, boys. Like, I have no idea. I think Michael Robinson will have a good race at Home-Stead, potentially win his way into the round of 4. What do you think, Healy?
What do I think about Michael Robinson? Are you talking to me right now? Yes, he's making it. Absolutely.
I would
100%.
I would like to see him make it. Honestly, he's had a good season last year. He was a rookie with us. This year's his sophomore year. He's definitely improved tenfold, and I would like to see the guy make it.
Uh,
It's
championship pick right there.
that's a tough one though. But like I said, I don't know who's going to win Homestead, man. I really don't, because those are all really good drivers. Fritz could freaking win Homestead for all I know. Fritz is really good at Homestead. He could come out and show out tomorrow night. And
I mean, he could, but Michael Robinson's gonna.
Yeah, Fritz is more likely to win Martinsville, if I had to guess. Fritz is more likely to win Martinsville, but because he's really good at Martinsville. But Hackney could have something to say about it. So could Radburn, and so could James. We'll just got to see how it plays out. It's pretty even across the board in that series, though. Let's go ahead and discuss the Cup Series from last week at the Roval, and we had John Schwartz come out as the winner. GT Hawkins was P2. Brandon Robertson pulled out a P3. Brandon Holder was P4. Nick Mills was a P5. Matt Grenier P7. Sorry, P6. Alex Huffman P7. James Silvers P8. David Farmer P9, and Scott Fritz pulled out a P10. So that was Schwartz and GT had a freaking battle. Literally, it came down to the backstretch chicane. GT was coming. Fritz said, or not Fritz, Schwartz said, all right, I see you. I'm going to defend. He goes to the inside, gives GT the outside. It threw GT off. GT locks it up, blows the last backstretch chicane. Schwartz goes on to win the race. It was a hell of a move by Schwartz to make. Did you see that? Did anybody else see that move that he made?
I missed that one.
Oh my goodness.
I was too far back. I finished 15th.
GT had a freaking run, dude. He had a run from hell coming. And I mean, he was there. He caught him, and Schwartz said, okay, I'm going left. I'll cover the inside. He let GT roll up on his outside, and I guess he just threw his line off, and he blew the chicane, and Schwartz went on to win it. But GT was bad fast, man. He went a 1:19.51 in that race. He led 35 laps. Schwartz led the other 20. Ended up, winning the race ultimately. So good job to those guys, man. Nick Mills ended up advancing last week, which is crazy. He ended up advancing.
Is it crazy? Jason, tell him how crazy it is. Tell him how crazy. Nick, you ain't shit.
Well, he's not really showing a lot of speed. He's more of a strategy guy. He's been
He really is.
He's a points racer. Let's just be honest. He's not a fast, super fast guy, but he's smart about it. He races smart, and he just held on everywhere he could possibly hold on and gain a point. He did, man, and ultimately that's what allowed him to advance. Brandon Robertson, same thing. Brandon is different though. Brandon has speed at certain tracks. Brandon is fast as a mother at certain tracks. We know that. We've seen it. He's yet to get that win this year, though. He's came so close. What track was it? Dover, where he almost stretched it? Yeah, Dover. He almost stretched it at Dover. Ultimate fuel strategy guy. Guys is bar none. There's nobody that can compete with this guy on strategy, I feel like, at fuel strategy. Nick is good at it, but Brandon's better. Let's just be honest. Farmer, he's got that one lone win. Ran so freaking well at the Roval, though. So freaking well. Just to get reset back down to P7 going into the final stage. But the points in this series are even tighter than the other ones. So your points leader right now, GT 3,025, John Schwartz 3,021. Then you have a tie with Adkins and Holder at 3,015. And then you got Huffy sitting there at 3,011. That's only 4 points out. And then Nick's only 3 points behind Huffy. Farmer's only 3 points behind Nick. And Robertson's 2 points behind Farmer. That is some tight-ass points in the Cup Series. The competition has been spread. If you look at wins, we've got 13 different winners across 18 races. I think is what I said the other day. 13 winners. So
yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different winners across 18 races. That is what we provide in this Cup Series. It's top notch. It's next level talent. These guys, could go out right now and dominate any official. They could go out and run in for Road to Pro because they've got 4,000 plus I rating. Some of them do. If you're looking for something that's 5,000 or less that'll help prepare you for those Road to Pro series and stuff like that, then you need to be signing up for our Cup series because that's where it's going to be. The talent level and the talent pool in the Cup series is unreal, dude. Alex, you running that series, you know about that series. Tell these people about
Yeah.
that series.
So I'm fairly competitive. I think, in my opinion, in the truck series, we're up to 2,000, 2,500 I rating next season.
Yep.
Cup cars, if you're not running them right now, how different they are versus trucks, Xfinity. It's an entirely different car. It's I think I'm personally a better driver than I've shown in the Cup Series because I focus on the trucks. But I kind of take my marks and my practice from Mondays, and I roll them there on Wednesdays, and it means absolutely nothing. Everything is different.
Yep.
Brake points, throttle points, none of it transfers over whatsoever. It puts me so far behind the 8 ball. Like I might as well not even practice. But on top of that, the guys I'm racing from, there are guys in the series that I think I have pace with, but just looking through like the guys that finished well in that race, from John Schwartz all the way down to Justin Winters, Jonathan Adkins, Scott Fritz, um, super talented top to bottom.
Yeah.
These are all 3, 4, 5,000 I rating guys. They can do it in any car, anytime. You put them out there for an hour or two, they'll figure it out. These are all just super talented guys. Main reason I race the series is not, I never thought I was going to win anything necessarily, but I'm just trying to learn from these guys to improve my craft, and I hope that I have. I've learned some things, especially tire saving, strategy, that kind of thing. But you look at a guy like I'll pick a teammate of mine, Matt Grenier. He's he's still in the playoffs.
He got eliminated.
Maybe
he's not in round 8. He's not in round 8. He
Gotcha.
was in the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, but maybe not a guy that's necessarily competing for wins every week. But
he's hella consistent.
He's very consistent, and I can bounce strategy off of him, and he always has ideas that aren't what I have initially, and it forces me to think outside of, cut a stage in half. That's easy. But you talk to like him and Brandon as well. Brandon is the tire saving king, fuel saving king, whatever, and you get this perspective that's not just be fast every lap, because being fast every lap doesn't necessarily win you races, and you get these other perspectives that just lets you look at races in just from a different lens, I guess, outside of just trying to beat guys on every lap, set guys up for passes every lap. Like, let it come to you, let the strategy get to you, and we'll go from there. And those two guys in particular have taught me a ton. Not enough to beat Jonah necessarily, but maybe if I make it to the playoff 4, I'll do some crazy stuff. Maybe Brandon and Matt can tell me something, but we'll figure out when we get there.
Well, Jonah, have you ran in the Cup cars much?
Yeah, I ran the Cup car a lot when it first came out. When it first came out, it had really bad physics. It was basically wide open everywhere you went. And then through the first iteration of all of its updates, I drove 2 full seasons in the Cup car. So I've been there kind of through all the changes, good and bad. And Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a fun car. It's like, just to mimic what Alex said, it's so different, and it's not. It almost doesn't feel like a stock car at times. It the independent
Yes.
rear suspension and stuff, just it changes everything about the car, not just how it handles, but how it behaves in really niche situations, like
Mhm.
when you're coming off a corner and the car starts to step out on you, for example.
Mhm.
You have an instinctual reaction to that when you've been driving the trucks or Xfinity or the Gen 6,
Mhm.
and you can't do the same thing in the next gen
Mm-mm.
because, I mean, even the suspension, it sits differently. You're used to the front end being slammed to the ground on these trucks or Xfinity car, whereas in the Cup car in the next gen, the rear end is slammed to the ground. So it's
Mhm.
the complete opposite. So everything you do is almost backwards, and it takes a lot of learning and untraining yourself from all the other habits that you had that were good habits, but now they're bad habits in the next gen. And it,
Mhm.
it takes a while to learn that. But once you start to learn that and you grow in it, you'll start seeing success.
Good deal.
Yeah.
I have
And
to agree.
that's like for me trying to bounce between the truck series and the cup series every week. Um, everything I learn in the truck, I think like, okay, I have a baseline. I'll go in here, I'll use that and improve upon it. I might as well have not learned anything because it's so different. And specifically like Jonah said, the trucks, the nose is on the ground, where with the cup cars, the ass is on the ground to try to get some kind of downforce, and it just makes it drive entirely differently. And like at road courses, you'd like to think like your brake points are somewhat similar, just based off like the cup car has a ton more power, but has a ton more brakes.
Mhm.
So you would think like, oh, it's kind of close. It nowhere in the ballpark. I when I go cup racing, I have to just take everything I learned in the trucks and throw it in the trash
Yeah.
and and unlearn all of that in like a 2 or 3 hour session or whatever I
Yeah,
get.
exactly.
It's so hard. It's so hard.
Well, and here's another thing about it also is so the cup cars, they have an underwing for those that don't know this. They have an underwing which creates downforce and stuff. That's where most of the downforce actually comes from on those cars is underneath the car. Um, it's so much different. Like I went from and there's a reason why we didn't run it for when it first got put on iRacing. There's a reason we didn't run it. The first few iterations of it were trash, in my opinion. They weren't right. They did an update the other day, and I raced it at what track did I race it at that I right after that update? Bristol Dirt. Right after the update, I ran it at Bristol Dirt. Was up there. P2, P3 the whole race. Actually got to P1 at one point, and got passed when by somebody. Caution came out, and for some reason we had a restart because it was basically a caution fest the whole time. Had a restart. I went from second to third. It jumped into neutral on me and wouldn't come out, and so I got ran over. Obviously bulldozed, drove all, got knocked back to like 30 something. Anyways, but I don't know. It was weird. I'd never had it happen before. Never had it jump into neutral on me, especially with it being sequential. And it literally just wouldn't come out. I was clutching, letting it, I let the RPMs get all the way down and tried to, do it that way, doing whatever I could to try to get it to shift. And finally, I just let go of it and took my foot off the gas and the clutch. And it clicked in like 10 seconds later. It's weird. It's so
Yep.
weird. I don't know.
I will say,
Yeah.
similar to like NASCAR is still kind of ironing out the kinks with the real car in real life. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like iRacing is still kind of ironing out the
Oh,
kinks with the
100%.
car on iRacing, because you'll still notice little things here and there that shouldn't happen. Like, I know, for example, there's still only 4 gears at short tracks for some reason. I don't know what that's about.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think honestly, it's probably a good thing. I think it makes it more competitive, because when you have 5 gears at a short track, it kind of bails you out if you make a mistake. You can
We had
downshift
5 at
and
Richmond. When I was running at Richmond the other day, I had 5.
did they fix it? Okay.
Yeah, I had
Well,
5, and because
I'll be
but I
interesting to
wasn't
see if
using
they
it.
have
I was
it.
only using 4. I would
Yeah.
use 5 if like if I wanted to save fuel, I would use 5 and that's how I actually won the NIS race the other day. Was let those guys go out, and they ran off and was like 3 or 4 seconds ahead of me, something ridiculous. And I literally made a last lap pass for the win because I waited and saved my shit
Just stayed in
and
fifth gear the whole time.
stayed fifth gear. Yep. And they were dropping. And so, yeah, I forgot I did do that. It was crazy,
Well,
man.
that'd be good if they have it fixed, because I know at Martinsville, the last time I ran at Martinsville a couple months ago, they still didn't have fifth gear at Martinsville. So we'll see.
Mhm. And they may have changed it. I don't know. Maybe we'll see if they have it now. But all right, I think that's covered everything from last week in the Roval. Anything else we need to add on? NASCAR. We want to talk about NASCAR. I know we had a good fantasy was interesting this weekend. I had I blew it again. I could have potentially scored way more points, and I ended up putting Truex in the garage like a dumbass. But anyway, so if you guys haven't checked it out, we have the fantasy league. It's a lot of fun. It adds a whole different dimension, like Alex always says, to the racing. I was messaging Mills the whole time, like, man, I should have fucking kept this guy and that guy, and I just used the F-bomb again. But yeah, it's just a whole different dimension. Also, next season we have signups. You guys have one more week to get your charters paid, and then after that, open season on numbers. I'm leaving it open. So if you plan on getting a number in a different series, you need to do that now. If you plan on keeping the same number, you need to do that now, because Martinsville is the deadline on that. Because the reason I said the deadline is because I can't wait around on everybody to make up their mind if they're going to do it or not. That doesn't allow enough time to recruit. So we are doing a deadline so that way I know whose numbers are taken and whose are not. So, and that allows me to really go hard on recruiting for the next 6 weeks. So get your numbers signed up if you want them. If you want to continue running them, let me know. I know some of you guys have credits, and that's perfectly fine. We can do that. So just talk to me about it. Get with me, whatever you need to do. I know me and Healy talked about it earlier. I owe him 25 from last week. I assumed that he would probably want to just use it to pay for his truck charter next season. So that's something we can do. Just get with me if that's what you want to do. Butt kicker points. I know that some of the guys are still running for that butt kicker and Alex's money. Right now, Cody Anderson's leading truck points by 2 points over Brian Terry, but you've got Cody, Brian, David, and Ron at the moment are your top 4 trying to get in for that butt kicker and $70 at Phoenix. Xfinity Series, right now, Matt Grenier leads all drivers. Brian Terry is second, Greg Carr, and then Alexander Carr is in 4th. And then the Cup Series, Scott Fritz is leading all drivers. Dustin Ronstedt's in second. Brian Terry's in 3rd. Brian's in the freaking mix for all 3 of them. That's insane. And then
Look at him go.
Charles Blake
Look
is in.
at him.
Charles Blake is in 4th. And then Healy's in 5th. How does that work? You want to win your own money?
God, I hope so.
You need 11 points made up on Charles Blake to try to win your own money. So
I'll make the worst Facebook post you've ever seen about me
awesome.
winning my own money. I will. It'll be terrible.
You got to get in the top 4 first, though. So you need to have a good night tomorrow or Wednesday night at Home-Stead, and make up 11 points on Charles Blake to get in the top 4. So
who did you say was in the running for all 3 of them? Is it
Brian Terry? Brian Terry's in the running for all 3 butt kickers and all 3 of Alex's money. He really wants Alex's money. That's the real thing he wants. He said he wants Alex.
I want to up Andy for him real quick. If Brian Terry wins all 3 of them, I'll throw in a 4th one so he can have one for each wheel on his car.
Holy hell, that's awesome!
I love it. Well, guess what? He ain't getting the Cup one. I ain't gonna let it happen.
Alex is gonna win his own money. I feel like that's what he's going for.
I'll give it a shot. I missed one of the post playoff races, but there's nothing more I'd love to do than pay myself my own damn money. I almost used the F word, but I caught myself. My own damn money. I'd love to PayPal it right back to me.
All right, so I guess we need to do picks, and then that's going to wrap up this podcast. So, trucks, who you guys think are going to pull it off next week at Martinsville? Let's do that. Let's do both. Let's do this week and next week's picks both. Let's do Martinsville for trucks, and then we'll do Homestead and Martinsville for Xfinity and Cup.
Let's see.
In case we don't
Y'all
get to
go
record
first.
again on Thursday or Sunday, because I don't know how that's gonna. I don't know if we get to record next Sunday or not, but hopefully we will. So, but we'll do picks for Martinsville also, just in case we don't get to record Sunday. All right, I'll start it off. Let's see. Truck Series
you're
at
going-
Martinsville. Okay. Truck Series at Martinsville. Man, that's a tough one. I shouldn't have said I'd start it off. Let me get back to my standings.
I got mine.
Go for it.
Mine.
Go for it.
At Martinsville, it's my teammate.
Wes
Wes
Wiggins.
Wiggins.
All right.
Wes Wiggins.
I'm
We
gonna-
going, baby. I know he's going to be aggressive, and I got faith in him.
I think it's going to be. I want to say Bobby because I know how aggressive he is, and
Ooh, team flex. Let's get it.
but at the same time, I want to pick Peyton, so I don't know. 'Cause he was really good there last season. I'm just going to say I'm going to say Peyton.
Peyton
I'm
ain't
going
getting
Peyton. I'm going with Peyton. Sorry.
Well, you threw
Peyton-
your shit in the
Peyton's a good
trash.
pick.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
It
the
ain't
result
happening. It ain't
from the
happening.
season, and Peyton did really good at the short tracks this season.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go. I'm not gonna pick myself because I think Lucas is gonna pull it out.
That's a good pick too. Lucas is good at short
He won
tracks.
at He won at New Hampshire. It's a flat track. I know it's not technically a half mile, but still, it races like a short track.
Yeah.
think he can. I think he's gonna put in the work this week. So.
And that's a good pick.
Win to get in.
Yep.
So.
So, all right. So for Homestead and Xfinity,
Let's see.
this one, I honestly, I don't freaking know, man. I don't freaking know. I'm just going to say Scott Fritz.
I'm gonna go with James Silvers. He won at Charlotte. I think he won. Didn't he win at another 1.5? Well, that was Daytona.
I don't know. He's got 4 wins on the season. So,
Yeah.
I'm picking with my heart. Who am I picking, Jason?
Michael
Tell me.
Robinson. So I didn't steal your pick. I was going to pick Michael, but I went ahead and went with Scott.
Yeah.
Actually, what? I'm changing my pick. Adam
Big time.
Lancaster. Adam Lancaster's who's going to win it.
No,
I have
it's too late. Too
I have a
late.
feeling Lancaster's going to win
Too
it.
late.
Locked in.
I done changed it.
Bull
And-
fuck. I don't
all right.
care. I don't care.
and
You
hold
already
on.
said it.
Hold on. Scott Fritz is who I'm picking for Martinsville. So, all right. I'm picking Scott Fritz for Martinsville right now in Xfinity. So, Jonah, who do you think is going to win
You
Martinsville?
said 100 different things.
Martinsville.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take. Ooh. I'm taking James Silvers.
Silvers for both.
Yep.
All right.
He's good on the short tracks too.
Healy.
Tough.
Martinsville.
Xfinity.
Yep.
Kyle Mays.
Al Mays. That's a good pick. All right. Cup Series at Homestead. This one's going to be a tough one, man.
Yeah, this
That
is
is-
basically a pick 'em. You can just.
Yeah, this
roll
is
the dice.
anybody.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Huffy. Huffy's going to get it done.
That's solid.
That's
Man.
a good pick. Is that your pick?
Yeah, I'm going with Huffy this time for Homestead.
All right. I'm gonna go with Nick Mills. Nick fucking Mills.
Jonah.
I think I'm gonna take Jonathan Atkins.
Jonathan Atkins for Homestead. That's a good pick too. Martinsville Cup. What do you think? I'm gonna say.
You want me to go?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can go if you don't want to go. I was gonna say.
I'd love to personally.
Go. Let me hear it.
Who has the most aggression
Farmer.
in the Cup Series?
Farmer.
Yeah, you're right, and that's my guy.
All right. So Farmer. I'm gonna say it's gonna be GT at Martinsville. I think GT will lock himself into Martinsville.
Yeah, that was a good pick. Stole my pick. You know what? I'll go with Michael Robinson.
Oh, we got back-to-back Michaels.
Well, he's not running in
love
Cup.
it.
He's not running in Cup.
Oh, he's not.
No. He's not ran. He has a charter, but he's not been running. So
He won a race in Cup. I didn't pick him for it, unfortunately. The one time I
showing
didn't
him-
pick him.
See, Keith has all his races paid for, but I don't know if he's going to continue racing Cup because he's out of the playoffs.
Oh, that's Xfinity. I'm looking at the wrong one. Whoops.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I mean, I would 100% went with Keith to win tomorrow and probably win Martinsville too if he was still going to run Cup.
Series.
But I don't think he's going to continue to run Cup. I don't know. I guess I'll find out Wednesday. Haven't heard from him, so
we'll all find out together.
I mean, all his races are paid up for the rest of the season, so we'll see. And it's interesting because I know he's caught a lot of shit over saying he was going to come out and kick everybody's butt in Xfinity and Cup, and then he gets eliminated in the Cup Series. It's nothing to hang your head about because the Cup Series is freaking tough. So I mean, he talked a lot of crap, and unfortunately, he wasn't able to back it up in the Cup Series. But he had a tough run in the Cup Series. So, that's nothing to hang your head about, though. It's a tough series, man. GT and John Schwartz and Adkins and all them boys, they're freaking fast. Holder, every week, Holder's like a top 3 guy. I think he's got like fucking 10, let's see, Holder, 16 top 10s. Exactly. Yeah. And 6 top 5s. GT's got 9, and Schwartz has got 9 top 5s. Top 5. So, and then you got Huffman with 8 top 5s. That tells you how tough this series really is. So, who you think you got, Jonah?
You know what? I'm going to go with Holder. He's going to pull it off.
At Martinsville?
Yeah, there's going to be chaos, and he's going to be there to take advantage of it.
Hey,
we saw it at North Wilkesboro when the top 2 guys wrecked each other on the final lap.
That's right. That's true.
And third place won. All Holder has to do is continue to be consistent, be in the right place at the right time. There's going to be people desperate trying to get into that Final Four, and he can be there.
Yep, I 100% agree. And Holder is the type of guy, he has got the potential to win and get himself into that championship 4. Right now, he's sitting on the bubble. Huffman's only 4 points behind him, so he's definitely on the bubble. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least, to see who gets into that championship 4 for the Cup Series. That's $1,000 on the line. And then also, going down the Millbridge, if we can, if they're able to put that together, go down the Millbridge for the go-kart ride in DNQ. So a lot on the line for that Cup Series. I think we lost Jonah for a moment. So
it's fine. Whatever. We're here. Let's shut her down, shall we? With the sponsors. Let me bring him over here. My good pals over at KPG, Kinder Performance Group, John Kinder. As Jason said, we're going to head out to Millbridge for the Cup Champion. Get in a cart. Let's see what you're about.
Everyone's welcome. The whole league.
Everyone except for Alex Huffman. I hope you don't come because you can't dunk. You can't outrun me in a 40-yard dash. It will not happen. I guarantee it. But to the next sponsor, Huffman Designs, Scott Fritz Designs. If you need a hot paint job that looks great, not some shit that I would do, those are the guys you should talk to. If you want a free one, come talk to me, but they'll charge you and they'll do something that doesn't suck. Butt kicker. Jason, tell them about the extra dimension it adds to your racing experience.
Tire slip, you can feel when the car's coming out from under you, it just adds so much more. You can feel the motor revs, you can feel everything, all the sound, all the haptic feedback that you get from a butt kicker. It's unreal. Make sure you check them out and get one if you don't already have one. And we have a link in the Discord. It's a partner link. If you want to check it out, it will help out the league. So
help us out. But more importantly, my favorite sponsor. Do you like buildings? Do you like barbecue? If you put them together, Red Rocket, buildings and barbecue. Go out there, buy you a shed, buy you a double wide. I don't care. It's great. They support the league. We support them. It's awesome. I love talking about them. Elevated Outdoors. I'm not going to throw it to Jason again because that's just bottom dollar right there. But if I'm getting high, I'm going outside. Elevated Outdoors. Let's go, boys. WJM Motorsports. These guys are sponsoring talented racers. We've got several guys in the league that are running officials every day. If you're getting wins, they're paying the big bucks. Holler at them. It's Bill Mulefield.
I think it's either
the last episode.
Mulefeld or Mulefeld. I don't know. It's Mule or Mule. I don't know.
Killing me.
Mulefeld. I think Mulefeld.
On top of all of our sponsors, I meant to ask Jonah earlier. I didn't want to mispronounce it, so I'm gonna throw it to him. His truck sponsor, I know it starts with a B. I was gonna say Barabbas or Barabbas.
I
don't know.
You nailed
Barabbas.
it. You nailed it.
Barabbas.
First try.
Well, I am an English major, but I'm gonna throw it to you to send us out of here.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure y'all check out Barabbas, Homeless Outreach on Facebook. We do a lot of stuff here locally in Oklahoma City. We try to get stuff out to the homeless, mainly clothes, stuff like that. So if you have any item donations, you can hook us up with that. But other than that, that's all I got.
That's Alex. That's Jonah. I'm Jason. This is episode 24. Peace.